Hello fellow plastic throwers, this is Fulcrum, and in today's Airsoft review we're going to be taking a look at my trusty old custom JG G608C Airsoft carbine. So let's head over to the bench and have a closer look at this thing. Now this gun is constructed mostly of polymer, however it still has a nice weight of 3.2 kilograms, which is 7 pounds. Now bear in mind that this has got a G36K front end. When we measure it with the stock folded, it's 55 centimeters long, which is about 22 inches. With the stock unfolded, the gun becomes 81 centimeters long from the stock to the suppressor tip, which is around 32 inches. We'll start with the stock, which is a standard G36 stock. You press this button in to fold it, and then it gets hooked up on this little catch here, and it holds it in place. And to unfold it, all you've got to do is pull it off of the catch and snap it back into place. The selector switch of this gun is fully ambidextrous. You have safe, semi, and full auto, and like I said, fully ambidextrous. I like these selector switches a lot. Keeping with the ambidextrous theme, you have an AK style ambidextrous magazine release, although you can reach it if you've got long enough fingers, which will allow you to drop the magazines out like that. The charging handle, whilst it's not needed on an AEG apart from exposing the hop unit, is fully ambidextrous. You can fold it either way, and pulling it back allows you to reach the rotary style hop unit. I like the G36 style hop units. I've not had any issues. The only problem is they don't mark which way you have to turn to apply hop. You have to pull it downwards towards the magazine well for it to apply hop. So that's a bit annoying. Wish they could put an arrow, but frankly it's such an effective hop unit, I'm not that fussed. The carry handle of this gun has a 20mm Riz rail built into it, as well as iron sights. Right now I'm using a 4x32 SMK rifle scope, and it works alright. It's probably not what most people would use, but that bit of extra zoom is very useful for finding out where your shots are landing. The iron sights on this gun are a hooded front post and rear aperture sight, which has two different aperture sizes. The battery compartment on this gun can be accessed by pushing a front pin out on the handguard and sliding the handguard forward and off. And in this gun I have a Jeftron processor unit MOSFET, which allows me to have burst fire and a few other features. Now I've got a battery on this gun. I've got a 7.4 volt 1100 mAh WE battery, and right now I've got it set to semi and burst fire. So on semi-auto, you have semi-auto as you normally would, and on full auto you have a 2-round burst initially when you pull the trigger, and if you hold down the trigger after that burst, it will then switch to full auto. Now that's not normally how I would have it set up. I would normally have 2-round burst on semi-auto, and full auto would be full auto. The reason for that is having burst fire on semi-auto mode, for some reason the burst count is a lot more consistent. Now the battery compartment of this gun, stock or otherwise, is a bit of a pain. It's very small. I managed to get some racing packs to fit in this gun when I was using it stock with this tiny G36C front end. However, with the MOSFET in, I had to have a longer front end, or I would have to have batteries taped to the outside. So that's why I stuck this longer front end on. The suppressor thread on the front of this gun is a 14mm counterclockwise, which is lefty tighty righty loosey. The muzzle brake of this gun is a metal 4-pronged G36C style muzzle brake. I like the look of it, however these things are brilliant at picking up mud, especially with the rentals. I've often seen people digging the mud out the front of them because they're perfectly shaped for digging into the ground. But yeah, I do like the look of it, but of course in this I use the suppressor. Now the inner barrel of this gun is around 250mm long, and it's a stock brass barrel, so it's probably about 608. I did have a Mabel 603 Type bore in it, but somehow it got bent in combat. I have no idea how. It must have been a hell of an impact, I don't remember dropping it. But it made the gun into an absolute laser. But of course when it was bent it was incredibly inaccurate, so I had to switch it out. However, considering that the barrel and hop rubber of this gun are stock, it still performs incredibly well. It's what you'd expect from an AEG. It's perfectly usable. The gearbox in this gun is a version 3, which I prefer over a version 2. I like the way that you can test the gearbox outside of the gun because it has a motor cage. You don't have to reassemble the entire gun like you would an M4 just to find out it's not working. The gearbox has been incredibly reliable as well. The only issues I've had with this gun are down to the trigger and the gearbox casing. The gearbox casing recently developed a crack in the front. I don't know how long I've been using it for with that crack in the front. It worked fine throughout the whole time that gearbox was cracked, for as long as I know. However, you should not use an airsoft gun with a cracked gearbox casing. It was going to happen at some point. It's wear and tear. Gearbox casings wear out, especially at the front, where the front end of the gearbox has to take the impact of the piston. The next problem I had, which was when I first had it, was the trigger. The trigger is very sensitive to over tightening. There's a couple of screws on the gearbox casing that can cause the trigger trolley to jump around, and it can cause you to fire a shot and then the trigger to jam. So simple fix, don't over tighten things like you should do on any airsoft gun. Aside from those two issues, like I said, the gearbox casing fracturing, that was just wear and tear, and the trigger was down to me. I've had no problems with this gun. The only thing that bugs me with the G36 family, and that's not specifically the JG one, it's all G36s, it's just how big the magazines are, so getting these to fit in pouches is a bit of a problem. However, I like the look of these and I won't be switching them out for M4 mags anytime soon. And would I recommend the JG G608C? Of course I damn well would. Aside from the magazines being a bit of a pain to get into pouches and the battery compartment being a bit small, this gun is basically perfect. It is incredibly well built, it's incredibly reliable, it comes apart easily, it's fully ambidextrous, the folding stock makes it easy to store, and it's not another M4, which is the main thing. So yes, I would definitely recommend this gun if you want an Airsoft G36C, which won't break the bank, but will last you a damn lifetime. So that's it for this review. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to leave them in the comments down below and I will try to answer them. If you enjoy this video at any point, then a thumbs up would be greatly appreciated. And if you don't want to miss out on any new content, then make sure you subscribe and click on the bell icon. I'm hoping this weekend to get some footage with this gun, so keep an eye out for that. And as always guys, play fair, play safe, take care.